Hello, everyone. Wow, I forget how loud I am sometimes. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing today? Good. So, my name is Yasmine, for those of you who do not know me. I am on staff here in our student ministries team. I'm usually with middle schoolers. Shout out to middle school because you guys are all cute. Not that you're not cute, high school, you guys are all cute. But we are going to jump into our fourth week of our series called Goals. So, for the past 4 weeks, we have been talking about goals to help us grow in our faith. And this week, I want to talk to you guys about having the goal to love people and not judge people. So every year, there's a bunch of beauty pageants all over the world. In these pageants, they are judged in absolutely everything. Their faces, their nose, the way that they look, their nails, their hair. They are under so much stress because they are going to get critiqued in absolutely everything. Even their personalities, if they're angry, if they're cute. I think we have some pictures of one beauty competition in particular that I'm talking about. And these people are in a lot of stress. We got dog beauty pageants. They look all cute. They're consistently being judged, these poor little cute. I think that one's the cutest one. Not really. It's kind of not cute. It's a little freaky. This one looks all fabulous, all cute. But you know, when I was in middle school, I was consistently judged for the way that I looked. Kind of like those dogs are, or any beauty pageant. People always judged me on the way that I looked, the way that I dressed, the way that I talked. People said that I talked too much. But maybe some of you have been judged based on your grades. Or maybe some of you who are athletes are judged in your performance. Now those things are pretty hard. They're pretty difficult. But you know what's really hard to be judged on? When you come to church, you see the people from your growth group, you're surrounded by a bunch of Christians, and you feel judged by them. When they say, man, I can't believe you would go out with her. Man, I can't believe you talked to him. Man, how could you do that? I can't believe you think those thoughts. Some of us have probably felt that way, or people have said those things to us. Or maybe you're on the other end. Maybe you're the one judging other people to try to make yourself feel a little bit better. I know I've been there. But you know what? Judging, it's a pretty big deal in 2019, but it's actually not a new thing. We can actually go back in the Bible and see how God dealt with judging. So we are going to go in the book of John. And in the book of John, there was a woman who was caught committing adultery. And basically that means she was caught cheating on her husband. And these Pharisees brought this woman to Jesus. And they were like, Jesus, this woman committed adultery, and I believe that she should be stoned. And not only did these Pharisees go and call out this woman who committed her sin in front of Jesus, but to a group of people. And we can assume that this woman, she felt ashamed. She was embarrassed that her sin was called out in front of everyone. She probably felt really guilty already that she cheated on her husband and committed adultery. And you want to know how Jesus responded? He stood up and he said, all right, if you have never sinned, then you can throw the first stone. And the Pharisees, they probably all looked at each other. They put down the stone and they walked away one by one. And it was just Jesus and the woman now. And then he said, woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you? And the woman looks up at Jesus. And she said, no one, sir. Then Jesus replies, then I don't condemn you. Now go and leave and sin no more. Sometimes we are like the Pharisees. We judge people to try to make ourselves seem a little bit better. These men were expecting Jesus to judge her, to criticize her. But Jesus did not condemn her like the Pharisees did. But he did do one thing, and I think a lot of people forget this in this story. He says, "Go now and leave your life of sin." So what he did was, no, he didn't condemn her, but he did acknowledge that she did commit a sin. But he did this to keep her accountable, not to judge her, not to make her feel ashamed of the thing that she did. He did this because she would finally experiences Jesus' grace and love. And he said that so she can learn to be a better version of herself, that her sin is not going to define her. And he gave her a second chance. And this is where judgment meets accountability. So if you have your phone and you can pull out the app, we're going to fill in our first fill-in. When I judge, it makes me look better. Accountability helps you be better. You can write that down on the phone. You can pull it on the app again. That is, when I judge, it makes me look better. Accountability helps you be better. But let me be honest with you. I don't want you to think that I'm up here saying that I don't judge. Because, surprise, I struggle with the same thing. There has been times in my life where I have had people around me get things that I really wanted. They had more speaking opportunities than me. They were probably more liked. They were the one getting picked to go hang out with, and I wasn't. That made me really bitter and angry inside. And these are kind of the conversations that I would have in my head. Oh my gosh, if only they knew the sins that that girl committed or that guy. Like, I know that that person probably gossiped the day they got chosen. I can't believe, like, if only they could read through her. Like, these are the conversations that I would have in my head. You know what? That's not a good thing. Like, that is the definition of judgment. I was basically telling God, like, God, like, I can't, like, you know the difference. You know that I'm faithful. I can continually change myself. I come to church. I pray. And you're going to choose that person over me? It didn't make me, I was judging and it was trying to make me look better. But in the end, it didn't change the situation. I still wasn't picked. Still probably wasn't chosen. If anything, it made me more prideful. But there is a story when I had a mentor in my life. And I wasn't hanging out with the people that were going to help me grow my faith. I was kind of like in a group that was gossiping and slandering other people. They weren't helping me grow as a person, and my mentor was seeing right through this. And she told me, Yasmine, I don't think you need to be hanging out with those people anymore. They are consistently gossiping about other people. They are not helping you grow in your faith, and you are going to become probably more like them because you are the 5 closest people that you hang out with. And I want the best for you. But you see, there's a difference, though, in this situation. Is that my mentor wasn't technically judging those girls. She was keeping me accountable because she loved me and she knew what would be best for me in the time of life that I was in. I wasn't questioning if she was, shaming me or making me feel guilty of the people that I was hanging out with. She was kind of like Jesus in that moment for me, saying, come on, Yasmine, I know you're better than that. Go and sin no more. So she was able to call me out in love. But you know what happens when we don't call out people in love? It says in Galatians 5:15, and it'll be up on the screen and in the app. It says, "But if you are always biting and devouring one another, watch out. Beware of destroying one another." I know, trust me, it's a lot easier to tear people down. But I truly believe the best in you guys. That you are able to pray and tell God, I don't want to go on my first day of school and judge the people in my classes, their first day of school outfits. I don't want to judge the 7th graders who are coming in, or I'm not going to judge the 9th graders going in. Some of you are laughing because you're like, I totally do that. I did that last year. But I want to give you guys 3 practical ways on how to call someone out in love. And the first one, you can put this in on your fill-ins up on the screen, is spend more time talking to God about it with your friends. So this is a very practical step that I learned very shortly when I realized that I am more emotional and I tend to gossip a little bit more when I'm dealing with stuff when I'm around my friends. If I go straight to one of my friends when a situation happens, guarantee you I'm going to be judging the person. I'm not going to say the nicest things. But something that I try to learn in my life is to talk to God first, and then my mentor in my life, someone I look up to, and then my friends. So when you talk to God about it and you actually look into scripture of how to handle conflict or call someone out in love, it makes the situation a lot better. To seek guidance and counsel from God and your mentor, and then you can talk to your friends about it, but not in a gossip or slandering kind of way. And secondly, is make sure my heart is in the right place. I know many times I have gone up to someone thinking that I'm going to keep them accountable, and in reality, I'm just trying to tell them that they're screwing up and they need to get it together, because what they're doing is not biblical, it is not okay. And if I go into that mentality, putting myself higher than that person, my heart's probably not in the right place. But this is where we talk to God first, and then our heart becomes in the right place where we say, you know what? I'm doing this and keeping you accountable because I believe the best in you, and I want you to become a better person. Not, I'm going to talk to you because you need to fix things. In that kind of sense. Then 3, how to call someone out in love. It does a lot to do with place and timing. This is an area where I'm still trying to learn a lot about and really grasp this, so I'm right there with you. Sometimes I'm very emotional, and Jay can attest, sometimes I don't say things in the right place or timing. Sometimes I tend to act a little bit more on emotion. But there's a difference in times where sometimes I have to tell Jake, hey, you need to give me 3 hours to kind of cool down, and then we can talk about this. Because sometimes you might get into conflict with a friend, you're super heated, if you resolve it or fight over text right away. How many of you guys have texted and tried to handle conflict and call someone out, and it just turns into this chain of you can almost write a book? How many of you guys have gone into text message fights? A lot of us have, yes. Yes. So place and timing is crucial. Don't call someone out in love over text. Make sure to always do it face to face. And making sure that you're cooled down and you've talked to God and your heart is in the right place. So remember this. The goal is to love people, not judge people. And this is the last thing in your notes. So you guys can write that down on the app. So, I want to give you guys a lot of grace in this area, because I'm only a couple years older than you, and I'm still working through this. This is an ongoing, those 3 principles that I gave you, it's going to take a lot of time to make that an actual habit. But if you're consistent with it, you're going to see the difference of the friends that you choose, how your friends respond to you. They're going to be like, man, I know Hannah loves me and that's why she's talking to me about that stuff. Man, I know Sebastian sees the best in me and he's not trying to shame or guilt me. He knows I'm capable of so much more. Like, just imagine if you were able to have friendships like that, where you can call someone out in love and they don't feel that shame and that guilt. So on your first day of school, I want to challenge you not to judge the person with the rolly backpack. Not to judge the person running to their class because they don't even know what their class is. Not to judge people for what they're wearing. Not to judge the people for hanging out with certain people that you may not like. I want you to love on people. I believe that you guys are campus changers. And you are leaders on your campus. And I know you have the ability to love because you have Christ in you. So believe the best in yourself. So I'm going to pray for your guys' first day of school. And that you're going to love people and not judge them. Because that's the goal and how to grow in our faith. Lord,